What's going on, YouTube? I am here for part 2 of the base set evolutions comparison. So I have in front of us 2 stacks of cards, which represent the common slot for the base set and the common slot for evolutions. Now, there is a rare in here, because believe it or not, there's a rare that was in the base set that is a common in evolutions, and I will get to that when we get to it. But this video shouldn't be too long, just a simple comparison between the two. So we're going to start off with, I already apparently messed things up there. Oh, okay. So here we've got 2 Caterpies. Now you can tell the difference between the cards. The border is a little bit thicker on the base set card on my right hand side. And of course you can see the resistance, the retreat cost, everything is a little bit different. And the border, the yellow border, is a lot darker, but the colors are more vibrant in the base set cards. Well, most of them anyway. This is a shadowless Caterpie, as you can see. There is no shadow, as you can see right there, for that, for the border. Anyway, so between the 2 cards, you can see 40 hit points between both of them. Both use String Shot. And both are flip a coin, depending Pokemon is paralyzed. So, Caterpie did not change between the 2 sets. The same actually goes for Weedle here. Weedle, still 40 hit points. Poison Sting, flip a coin, defending Pokemon is now poisoned. Now, of course, it says active in the newer cards rather than the old one. And you can see that the colors are actually a little bit more vibrant in this, and the colors are faded in the base set card. So, next up we have Tangela. Now, Tangela changed a decent amount between the 2. 30 hit point buff. Bind is the exact same thing. Flip a coin, if heads, paralyzed Pokemon. Poison Powder, though, does an additional 10 damage for the exact same amount in evolutions. So the Tangela in the evolutions is the better card. And in most cases, you're going to find out that the evolutions card is better than the base set card. And that's a shadowless Tangela as well. Next, we have Charmander. One of my shadowless Charmanders that I have lying around. You can see that the only thing that is really different between the 2 is that his hit points were buffed by 10. So Charmander, still overall basically the exact same thing. Nothing too special. Vulpix kind of also got the Charmander treatment, the evolutions treatment. Extra 10 hit points and an extra 10 damage on its attack. Flip a coin, if heads, active Pokemon now confused. Besides that, exact same. Growlithe, though, had a pretty decent change. Not only did he have an additional 10 hit points added to him in evolutions, the retreat cost had changed by 1, but he has 2 attacks now. So Hind Kick, which you can do an active switch, which is a pretty decent ability, and then the same ability that the base set had, which was his Flare. So, a little bit of a buff for the Growlithe. This Growlithe is definitely better than the old Growlithe. The only kicker is that retreat cost, but the retreat cost really doesn't matter if you can just switch them out. So, substantial. Ponyta got a buff only in the hit point department. An additional 20 hit points between the base set and evolutions. The attacks remain the same. Nothing too fancy. Poliwag had a good buff. 20 hit points, Water Gun for 30, rather than the Water Gun for does 10 plus 10 more for each water energy attached to Poliwag. But it doesn't go past 30 damage. So it's basically the same thing, but this one's better. Because you're always going to do 30, even though if you had 2 water energy to it, it's 30. But the 20 hit point buff is just better. Better card in evolutions. Seal had a 20 hit point buff, but you can see that the resistance has changed. Seal was weak to electric in the base set, Seal weak to grass in evolutions. Also, his retreat cost increased by once. But he does have the Growl ability now, which is any damage done to attacks to Seal is reduced by 20 before weakness and resistance. But his Headbutt deals an additional 10, but for an extra energy. Staryu, you may notice that the artwork is actually different between the two, which is actually surprising. The Staryu in this is in the center. The Staryu over here is not, but it's almost the exact same image. Staryu did get a buff. Also, the resistance is just like Seal, the same. Weakness Lightning in base set to the Grass type in evolutions. Slap for 10 or Quick Blow for 10 plus. Flip a coin if heads, an additional 10. The edge really goes to this one just because of the hit point boost. 20 additional hit points means a lot. Magikarp. The Magikarp, believe it or not, in the base set was a lot better. I don't know why he got the debuff in evolutions, but he could always deal 10 damage. But Flail is the exact same thing. So you can always deal 10 damage with him, because guess what? If Magikarp has no damage on him, you can't do anything. So the base set card is actually better. Pikachu, as you can see between both, Pikachu got a bit of a buff. It's the exact same thing minus the resistance to Steel type or Steel types, but he got a 20 hit point buff. It's the only difference between Pikachu. The artwork is a little bit different now that I look at it. The Pikachu in this, if you look very closely, is actually taller. So it looks like the artwork on this got cropped a little bit differently, because you can see at the top here, see how you can see that forest light shining through the entire way? You can't on the new one. Alright, Magnemite. Magnemite got a bit of a buff in terms of what it can do, but the same thing goes for the Steel type resistance. But Self-Destruct is 50 damage and 50 damage to itself. The old one was 10 damage to each Pokemon on the bench, and it did 40 damage to itself. So it still killed itself, which wasn't the best thing in the entire world. Magnemite wasn't very good to begin with, unless you were using Magneton, but nobody really did. Anyway, that being said, the Magnemite from the new set is better. Extra 10 hit points, and it does an additional 10 damage, but Magnemite's not good. So you're going to see here that I've got this actually out of order. Electabuzz is next. Now, Electabuzz, between the two sets, he's pretty much exactly the same. Except I think the base set card was better. You can see that the artwork is a little bit different. This Electabuzz is actually a lot bigger in terms of his image. You can see that the lightning crackle is different. Same hit points. The first ability is the exact same thing, but Thunder Punch is a little bit different. Besides the space in between Thunder Punch. The old Thunder Punch was flip a coin. If heads, it does 30 more damage plus 10 more damage. If tails, it's 30 more damage, and Electabuzz does 10 to itself. But Thunder Punch from the evolutions is flip a coin. If heads, it does 10 more damage. If tails, it does 10 damage to itself. The Electabuzz from the base set is way, way better. So, and that's why it was a rare. They debuffed it in the common slot. Next up, we've got Voltorb. The Voltorb, 100% from the new set, much, much, much better. Continuous Tumble, I've seen KO Pokemon with 60 hit points if you get lucky with, because you flip a coin until you get heads, and it's 10 damage times the number of heads you got. Just overall a better card, plus a 20 hit point boost. Nidoran went over a giant change. So if you've never seen the old Nidoran used to be a grass type instead of a psychic type. So between the two, hit point buff for 20. The grass type was still weak to psychic for some strange reason. But a grass energy Flip a coin. If tails, it does nothing for 30 damage. Sorry, video cut out there. 10 damage times the number of heads that it received. The new Nidoran, in my opinion, is better than the old one. It's just nice to see the old Nidoran again. Ghastly had a bit of a change. So, 10 hit point buff. So, the base set was flip a coin. Defending a Pokemon is if heads is asleep. Otherwise, to Little Grudge, during your opponent's next turn, if this Pokemon is knocked out from attack, you discard an energy card from the attacking Pokemon. The base set one was just a lot better. Now, Destiny Bond, which was what Little Grudge should have been, is just way better as well. Discard one Psychic type energy attached to Ghastly in order to use this attack. If a Pokemon knocks out Ghastly during the next turn, that Pokemon's knocked out too. Just way, way, way better. This Ghastly is just a lot better than the new one. As you can see, the weaknesses are different. Ghastly didn't have a weakness back in the day because there really was no weakness for Ghost-type Pokemon. And you can see that the artwork is also different. The Ghastly in this is a lot lighter, and you can see the ball that is Ghastly, and you really can't see that in the new one. Drowsy is the exact same thing. The only difference is the 10 hit point buff, so this Ghastly wins. This Drowsy wins. Sandshrew, same thing. 20 hit point buff, same attack, same weakness, except there was a resistance to lightning with the old Sandshrew of -30. So there was a bit of a use for Sandshrew in the old game because the Haymaker deck was very popular, and everybody was using Electabuzz. But as you can see, the new Sandshrew and the old Sandshrew, the art is a little bit different. This one, the image is blown up just a little tad bit more, and this image is a little bit lighter. Diglett had 2 attacks instead of 1. Now, also with the resistance to lightning in here. The new Diglett has a 10 hit point buff. The Submerge ability, saying as long as this Pokemon is its bench, prevent all damage done to it by attacks that affect the bench. But then it's got Dig Through, which does 30 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon, instead of Dig for 10 or Mud Slap for 30. The new Diglett, I cut it out on my own video. I don't know how it happened, but it did. So the only missing commons from this set are Abra, Pidgey, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle. So nothing too crazy. Once again, guys, thanks for watching. Please throw a like or subscribe to this channel if you're liking what you're seeing. Leave a comment below if you'd like to see anything different happen in these videos. I know there's not... my cat. I know there's not going to be many of these comparisons because we don't get many... There's not many reprint sets. It's not like Magic the Gathering where there's a reprint that comes out all the time and the cards are different, because in Magic they're all the same. So a reprint is a reprint, but with this it's a reprint plus a buff. What I would like to see Nintendo do, or I should say the Pokemon Company International, since they do the card game here, is with the next reprint set, give us a combination between Jungle and Fossil. Oh my god, would that be sweet. If they did another reprint set, out of any of the sets that they've released that were all done by Wizards of the Coast, what would you guys like to see? Go ahead and post in the comment section below what you guys would like. Until next time, guys, please just hang tight. I'll have that other video out here really quick, probably within the next day or two, and that's just going to, like I said, be the uncommon comparison between Evolutions and the base set. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching.